Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to show you there are several great pieces of information that came out from the Consensus Conference yesterday. But first I wanted to show you this this is about Tim Draper, who has been a Bitcoin champion for many years now. And I like to listen to what he says because he's very positive. He's very positive on Bitcoin, but I believe he's also an investor in XRP, even though he doesn't talk about it much. I think he speaks about Bitcoin because he knows that Bitcoin symbolizes the entire market for now, and I think that's what he sees as being able to sell the revolution that's coming. And so I like to listen to what he says. It says venture capitalist Tim Draper is sticking to his prediction. Bitcoin will reach 250,000 by 2022. Additionally, Draper recently stated he expects cryptocurrencies to eventually consume half of the fiat market. And I think this guy is dead on it. And I also wanted to show you this because what an awesome picture this is, and an awesome shirt I thought that he was wearing. I think this is his son. But wherever this is, if any of you know where this is, I want to go there when I cash in, and you probably do too. So Tim Draper's already a billionaire. When this thing goes off, he's probably going to be one of the first trillionaires. I think he has 40,000 Bitcoins. What would that be like? But anyway, I even decided to use this picture on the thumbnail on this video and put some XRP on their shirts. Moving along. This is a great article. It's Ripple's XRP way undervalued. The firm's impact to the coin. I don't know what that part exactly, that's some strange wording. But anyway, this whole article is basically what you and I know. And that is that XRP is the one digital asset out in the world right now that has the most utility and has and is set where the stage is set to completely conquer the world. It's the most undervalued digital asset in the world. And so I wanted to read you a couple of snippets from this article. It says certain virtual currencies are detached and analyzed one by one. Out of the leading coins, there are those that showcase true present undervalue for what they offer or will deliver in the future. When it comes to technical potential rewards, finding various solutions in various industries. XRP, one of the most talked about coins, the second by market capitalization, XRP could be standing at the peak of what we call usefulness when it comes to blockchain cases. Then it says, the technologies that banks use today, this is a quote from Brad Garlinghouse, the technologies that banks use today that Swift developed decades ago really hasn't evolved or kept up with the market. Swift said not too long ago, they didn't see blockchain as a solution to correspondent banking. We've got well over 100 of our customers saying they disagree. And then moving along, he says, the article says, just keeping in mind the above and on how useful XRP is and what importance it could take and cement its position in the financial world, the demand and adoption will grow exponentially. Hear, hear. I agree. Okay, let's move along. Now, this article was great. Before I get to the next one, I wanted to show you this. This was SEC Chair Clayton at he was talking about crypto ETFs at the Consensus Conference. Crypto ETF needs exchanges free from manipulation. Well, the only reason I wanted to show you this article is because of that one line right there. And what I think I said it yesterday. He's saying that we can't have an ETF until the markets are free from manipulation. And what I told you yesterday, and I've told you before, is that when Bakkt comes out and all of these traditional financial firms like Fidelity and all of these come out, NASDAQ, when they come out with their exchanges, all of a sudden the stamp of approval, the stamp of legitimacy is going to be put on this entire market, because all of a sudden those are going to be legitimate places that do not have manipulation. And that's when you're going to get your ETF, is after those places have not just opened, but probably have been open for a little while, so that he can point to them and say, see, now we have a legitimate market, because now Wall Street is in the game. And now I can approve this, because I can work hand in hand with these guys to make this happen. That's the way this is going to unfold. And that's the way the market's going to unfold. And that's the way that billions and billions of dollars are going to come into this, and eventually trillions. So I wanted to mention that for what it's worth. Okay. Next, this is also from Consensus. I believe Glenn Hutchins was the guy that was interviewing Clayton on the stage. He says, one question the audience is interested in is, what is XRP? And Clayton, I think this was his response to that question. We are open to people coming in to see us with their particular situation. And I will tell you, some of these questions take time. Well, let me tell you what, I've said this for a long time. Ripple has not sat around on their hands. These are genius people. These are very sharp people that are very well connected, and have people that work in Ripple that are extremely well connected, that come from government. These are people that are connected with the IMF, the SEC, the White House, all the way down the line. These are not people that leave things like this to chance and say, oh, I hope he doesn't call us a security. These are people that have already gone to the SEC and have already worked out a plan, and they're working their plan. The SEC has told them, this has been my theory since the beginning of this whole conversation. This is why I don't worry about it. The SEC, XRP is one of those few digital assets that they said, here's what you need to satisfy in order to not be classified as security. And Ripple has been working that list ever since. And so, and that's the reason that he will not call XRP a security, but he also won't answer the question, is because he knows that there's a few more things that they're checking off of that list until he will be able to say anything on the matter. It's not a coincidence. Think about this. He's had no problem going and calling ICOs, and specific ICOs. They've gone after ICOs. What would it make him and the SEC look like if they sat on their hands and did nothing to XRP and did nothing in terms of Ripple, while Ripple just kept on going along selling XRP, which they're doing, and then they're coming out and they're bragging about the institutional sales? What would it make him look like? There is no way that he would put himself in that position unless he knew that it was being worked out and they were working hand in hand with the SEC all along. That's what's going on. That's why there's no need to worry about this issue. Moving along, and this is a great article. This is the Overstock CEO. We talked about this the other day. The Overstock CEO, his name is, I believe, Patrick Byrne. It says Overstock founder and CEO Patrick Byrne is exiting the retail business so he can focus on blockchain, because he believes it's a disruptive technology that will transform the world. The blockchain, this is a quote from him. The blockchain revolution has a greater potential than anything we've seen in history, Byrne told Fox Business on November 26th. It's bigger than the internet revolution, how it's going to restructure society. I'm going to read that to you again. This is a quote from this guy. The blockchain revolution has a greater potential than anything we've seen in history, Byrne told Fox News on November 26th. It's bigger than the internet revolution, how it's going to restructure society. Now, I want to make a point before I leave his quote. The internet went up as high as $9 to $13 trillion. I've told you before, that was the internet of information. This is the internet of value, the internet of money. It's going to be bigger than the internet revolution. So it's going to be bigger than $13 trillion. $13 trillion was yesterday's money. That was money in 2000. Present value of money. If you know anything about that, the value of $13 trillion in 2000 is more like 20 to 30 trillion today. $20 to $30 trillion. Now imagine what that means for you and me. $120 billion market becoming even a $20 trillion market. I'm telling you, this is going to be $40 to $100 trillion. That's why I keep telling you to sit back, put your big boy pants on, chill out, and calm down and quit whining and hold your digital assets, preferably on a Ledger Nano S. Burns said focusing on the minutia of Bitcoin's daily price movements is losing sight of the forest for the trees. What coins are doing on any given day is silly, he quipped. Patrick Burns said 2019 will be a groundbreaking year for the industry. Next year is what, this is a quote from him, next year is when you will see blockchain really start coming out with products onto the world. He said, you'll see blockchain products in Q1. When asked, what can we expect to see in 2019, Byrne replied, you'll be able to trade security tokens. There's a whole new class of securities coming into existence called security tokens. Byrne recalled what Robert Greifeld, the chairman of NASDAQ, predicted in November 2017, that every stock and bond on Wall Street today could be tokenized. In 5 years, every one will be tokenized, Byrne promised. He added, the architecture of Wall Street as we know it is going to be deprecated over 5 years and replaced with security tokens. If that's true, we built the New York Stock Exchange of that world. We spent the last 4 years and $100 million building it. Now that guy is on it. He told it like it is. This is exactly what's about to happen. Now, moving along, and I want to give some credit. At ECOSSE XRP1, he sent me this morning. I want to thank you for that. Y'all go follow him. He's an active XRP community member. He sent me this article. This is from yesterday too. And this is Mohamed ElErian. He was at the consensus yesterday. He was on stage. Now, just to let you know who ElErian is, he was one of the executives at PIMCO, which is the huge, the guy that started, one of the most famous guys in bonds, started PIMCO. And this guy was one of the guys that was there. He left there, and now he's at Alliance, which I can't remember if that's a hedge fund. I think it is. But anyway, he's on stage there. Now remember, this guy is one of the guys, he's one of those elite financial guys that's in the Wall Street Club. He's on CNBC all the time. He's one of the guys who from the beginning was thumbs downing Bitcoin and very skeptical. He was one of those guys. And I want to read to you the things he's saying now. And it's a complete 180. Okay? And he, in fact, some of the things he's saying now, you can tell he just can't bring himself to go all in when he knows he was wrong. But anyway, I'll go along. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay despite a prolonged slump this year and will gain wider acceptance after the recent entry of more institutional investors in the space. Mohamed ElErian, chief economic advisor at Alliance. I think, this is a quote, I think cryptocurrencies will exist. They will become more and more widespread. But they will be a part of an ecosystem. They will not be dominant as some of the early adopters believed them to be, he said. Now that's the part where he's wrong. He just can't say you guys were all right. He just can't quite bring himself, but everything he says dances around it. So I'm going to continue and let you hear a little bit more of what he said. He admitted he was initially skeptical about Bitcoin because it was first presented to him as a global currency, which was never really the case. But he has since changed his mind. I didn't initially distinguish between cryptocurrency and the underlying technology. I treated it all as one, ElErian said. As I evolved, I learned in the process. Well, guess what, ElErian? We didn't have to learn in the process. We knew all along, and you guys tried your best to hammer this whole industry down, and you lost, and we won, and we're about to win even bigger. But he says here, I didn't initially, this is what they were saying. Remember, this was no more than about a year ago. they would say, well, there's a difference between cryptocurrency and the underlying blockchain technology. And we all said, no, there's not. They go hand in hand. and they will go hand in hand. If digital assets have a use case, they will. If they don't, they won't. But we've known all of this from the very beginning. But this is just one of those victories where we see one of these guys that it was one of the elites that's sitting there on CNBC every morning, and they're all just rolling their eyes. I can't tell you. I've been watching them roll their eyes since 2013, and it is so gratifying. But I don't care. I don't need the I told you so. What I need is XRP to 100 and beyond. That's what the digital asset investor wants and needs. And I believe that one day we'll see it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that we were right, they were wrong, and we're right in the middle of being proven right. Thanks for listening.